To see or not to see? That is the question. And who better to answer that question than a blind film critic? What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, and I am that blind film critic. And I'm here to review Hamlet. Which one? Just all of them. No, it's it's the new one with Riz Ahmed starring as Hamlet. I guess if you're looking it up on IMDb, it says 2025, although it's releasing domestically in 2026. It did some film festivals. It bounced around from Telluride through, there was a London Film Festival that it did. Just did Palm Springs International in January. It's been through some film festivals. It got picked up for domestic distribution here in the United States by Vertical Entertainment. And it's getting a theatrical release here in April. And I have seen it. They gave me a screener. They let me see this. Wow. The spoilers that I can give to you now. I can now tell you what Hamlet is about. From start to finish. I'm just gonna spoil the whole thing. All of it. It's a joke because you should know what Hamlet is. If you don't, go find out. Don't use this as your only version of Hamlet. Riz Ahmed, who I love, by the way, who's fantastic in Sound of Metal. He did a movie called The Long Goodbye, which is from this filmmaker who he teamed up with to do this film. And he has spoken a lot about this. This is a passion project for Riz Ahmed, but it was also a passion project for the guy who made it, as he's been working on it for 13 years. I'm sorry, but you should not be working on a Hamlet adaptation for 13 years. Even if you have thoughts and ideas about it, I get it, but it's a Hamlet adaptation. You're just going to get lost in a sea of, I feel like it's a fruitless effort. That's just going to be my immediate reaction to that is it's never going to define your career. It might be a footnote in it, but it will never define it. Even Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet, which I think he poured his heart and soul into, I think when you look at Kenneth Branagh's career, people don't go, oh yeah, Kenneth Branagh, the guy that did Hamlet. It's just, I think as an actor and as a director, he has moved beyond that. So it's really hard. And of course, Ethan Hawke's version of Hamlet, his career's not defined by it. Mel Gibson's version of Hamlet, his career's not defined by it. I guess it's questionable, but I still don't think Sir Laurence Olivier is defined by Hamlet. So I don't think anybody has ever been defined by Hamlet or their directors. So, unless the film just didn't work, in which case, I guess it's the last thing you ever do. Sad but true. So, interesting to hear some of the thoughts about how they wanted this sort of isolationist, gaslighted version of Hamlet to feel very specific. Riz Ahmed has talked about how Hamlet made him feel growing up, and how he, read it and identified with Hamlet as a character at the time, and looked at this as, society gaslighting you, but also wanting to believe in, but yet society is setting you up sort of anyway. It's this whole thing. He's got comments out there about it. He's doing press for his movie. Don't worry about it. If you want to hear him talk about it, it's out there. Listen to Riz Ahmed talk about why he wanted to be Hamlet. I think every actor secretly wants to be Hamlet. I don't think this is much of a thing. I'm pretty certain I could find a video of Chris Pratt saying he wants to be Hamlet. I don't think it's much of a thing. I think everybody wants to do this. But few get the option to actually be in the production. Along for the ride, notably, are Timothy Spall, who's excellent in everything. And to prove that, he was excellent in Kate Winslet's directorial debut that sort of died on Netflix back in December. Goodbye Love, I think that was the name of the film. and Joe Alwyn, who keeps popping up in Oscar nominees. So good news for Hamlet, because he's knocked 2 films into the Best Picture race in the last 2 years with The Brutalist and Hamnet. So now he's in Hamlet, and maybe, you never know. Maybe Joe Alwyn is the lucky charm for a movie. So, it's Hamlet. Do I have to tell you what Hamlet is? Watch The Lion King. Imagine that, but like with humans. Like, first of all, if your education system has defeated you such that you did not learn about Shakespeare through Hamlet, I don't know. You should have some sort of thing in your life where you are forced to have to confront Shakespeare, and likely you're doing it through Romeo and Juliet or Hamlet. Likely the 2 most instantly recognizable works of his. Not that he doesn't have many recognizable works, but I think because the characters in those are so young, it's easier to sell those to high schoolers than it is some of the others. So in this one, Hamlet is once again confronted by the ghost of his father and must reckon with the fact that his father was murdered, and believes that his father was murdered, and watches his mother's marrying his uncle, and how, the betrayal behind that and the frustration. He's also got Ophelia here, and his relationship to her. Yes, Laertes is here, Polonius, Claudius, everybody's here, except for some of the more minor characters that aren't really necessary. So the thing is that they cut out a lot of the scenes, or have reimagined them so that way they're not the same thing. So like To Be or Not to Be has completely changed. It's not him holding a skull. Alas, Horatio, I knew him well. It's not that. In this version, he's like driving a car, and the To Be or Not to Be feels like it's literal, because he could crash the car and then he could not be. So it's a modern adaptation where you have an updated, and yes, it's mostly like a Southeast Asian cast, I think, that matches Riz Ahmed, and like, so he doesn't stand out. There are more people that look like him, I should say. Although we still have Timothy Spall and Joe Alwyn, and people who don't. So, it's frustrating because it's like there's so many adaptations of Hamlet that you go, well, so why? So why are we doing this? And I hear why he's doing it, and I get it. I understand why he's doing it, but it's kind of frustrating because if you're at all a traditionalist in terms of Hamlet, then this is going to be disappointing to you, because what they're trying to achieve is a very Hamlet specific story and make it feel very like it's this internal paranoia being increased by the fact that they've removed scenes in which Hamlet is not in, which I think truncates Ophelia's storyline a little bit, so she feels fragmented as a character, because a lot of the scenes that she has are not necessarily with Hamlet. So she has sort of her own arc. So if you're here looking for Ophelia, I felt like her character was stunted at times, because this film is designed to support Hamlet and his own sort of mental health status, as it were, and the feeling of increased paranoia about what's going on around him, along with being gaslit by these lies from the people in his life. So he experiences that, constantly by Riz Ahmed being in every frame, instead of him ever being able to leave the stage like he would normally, because Hamlet is not on stage in every single scene of Hamlet. Even though the play is called him, there are scenes with some other characters to further the greater story of Hamlet. There were some minor characters and stuff that just didn't make the cut because this is an under 2 hour version of Hamlet. And if you want to see the completionist version of Hamlet, Kenneth Branagh did that for you. I remember when that thing came out, and it was this double VHS box set. You could put in tape 1 and tape 2. And at the time, it was a lot for people. People were like, this is a long-ass movie. And I think nowadays, with Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair, opening in theaters and people being really excited about spending over 4 hours watching Kill Bill, that now maybe his film would work today, especially with streaming services. Like, if it was on Netflix, you could just pause it and then come back to it later to be in your continue watching feed. So I think Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet would work far more today than it did back in 1996, when it just got like a bunch of like below the line nominations for production, costume design, stuff like that. It wasn't really a major Oscar contender, although I have really enjoyed that version. I thought it was great. Great cast and everything in that. Mel Gibson's version is not terrible. You would think it is. And you would think that I'm supposed to say that because it's like Mel Gibson, but I didn't hate it. Ethan Hawke's version is sort of what this one's trying to do, but they were trying to do it for 2000 by updating it. I haven't seen the BBC ones that they did with David Tennant or Andrew Scott. I did see a little bit of the Laurence Olivier version back when I was in school. That is, I barely remember it, but I do remember seeing chunks of that. So, where does this stack up? Well, I think some people are going to love this. I think some people will find this to be amazing. I think Riz Ahmed here is electric. I think he powers the film. Very much the reason to watch. I think Timothy Spall's great and everything. Joe Alwyn is certainly building up a roster of films, reasons for why he should be, taken more seriously as an actor. But for me, I do kind of need those other scenes. For me, I feel like this is too short. For me, I feel like it's a little bit like the Ethan Hawke version of Hamlet, where it does feel like we're sacrificing chunks of the story. And I feel like I've already seen a version of that. I feel like I tried to see something where they were trying to update it and make it for modern audiences back then. Hamlet. Now this is for a different generation. This is what Riz Ahmed believes kids today want to watch, is this sort of frenetic, energetic version of Hamlet, which, sure, maybe, and there's something to be said for the specific casting of Riz Ahmed in Hamlet to begin with. So that's different. That's branching out from previous versions and iterations. So the casting, the diversity in it is interesting. There's so many reasons to like this movie. But for me, seeing it as short as it is, missing the scenes that it's missing, and seeing it sort of being juxtaposed against the other versions that have stayed maybe a little more faithful, that don't repurpose scenes and lines and everything. I listened to one person review the film, and they were like, the thing that dampens the film is the dialogue. And I was like, you mean Shakespeare's dialogue? Get out of here. Like, just, what? Get away. Go away. So it's not that. It's actually that I want more of that. It's actually the fact that sometimes when you adapt something and you keep his text so faithful that, and then you try to modernize it and chop it down, it'd be like, imagine if 10 Things I Hate About You, if they kept the original text from Taming of the Shrew, it would feel like it wasn't really a complete adaptation, right? Like, it would feel like it's a fragmented. I don't know that film works with his dialogue. So I kind of feel like if you're thinking about it from the like the dialogue isn't good, it's not that the dialogue isn't good. It's that if you're going to cherry pick Shakespeare, he wrote it specifically for a reason, and then when you start kind of cutting and pasting, and then you try to reimagine scenes because we've gotten, 500 plus years on Shakespeare since then, and we're able to imagine, well, what would Shakespeare have written vehicles had he had cars? Like, so, um, I don't know. I hate to say that, like, that I'm rotten because of traditionalist, but at the same time, I'm just not enthusiastic about giving it a fresh because at the end of the day, I did feel like things were missing. Like, I felt like Ophelia's character was just she's just kind of here. And for people who really think Ophelia is a strong female character in Hamlet, well, first of all, sorry, there are stronger ones, but secondly, I mean, it kind of is true. She kind of feels like more of an afterthought because her stuff, where she gets to do that stuff on her own, isn't really happening here. From what I understand, the film is shot almost in like first person perspective, with a lot of the shots coming over Hamlet's shoulder. So that way you experience this, insanity that he's going through from his perspective. So, but if you are, you know, if you are a teen and you have had no introductions to Hamlet, Riz Ahmed believes this is the one. This is how you can get introduced to it. And I know people who were introduced to Shakespeare through Baz Luhrmann's William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, a film which I've never liked. So they are bold reimaginings and reinterpretations. So it doesn't really matter whether or not I like the film or not. Yeah, I've never liked Romeo and Juliet. I'm sorry, the Claire Danes Leonardo DiCaprio thing just never worked for me. Even back then, I was just, what is happening here? I don't know that I need it to be either the Hamlet, like the traditional adaptation, to stay as close as possible to that, or I need it to be just do something completely different. Do Lion King, do 10 Things I Hate About You, do something like that. Like, I can't have this mid ground where it's like you're trying to reimagine, you're trying to chop up Shakespeare's work and like interpret it into. I do think that is it Joel? Which Coen brother did Tragedy of Macbeth? One of them is not making good movies, and the other one made Tragedy of Macbeth. Um, with Tragedy of Macbeth, that they pulled it off a little bit better, and there was some really fantastic acting and some revisionist ideas that happened in Tragedy of Macbeth that made that work. So I guess you can maybe a little mess around a little bit with Shakespeare and make things work, but I also didn't think that was the best movie of the year that it came out. I just thought it worked maybe a little bit better than this does. I'm very frustrated because like there definitely people are acting their faces off here, and definitely the achievement is everything that Riz says is true. Like it feels energetic, it feels frenetic at times. I feel paranoid while watching it. You know what I'm saying? Like everything about his performance is there. So do I just stay the stick in the mud and say I didn't like it because dot dot dot, and then the because is it's missing half the play? um I mean, I honestly thought that the driving scene, trying to repurpose that when you were trying to update it, some of those scenes worked well. It has a real sense of urgency. It totally reinterprets the dialogue of the to be or not to be when he's staring at, when everybody holds up that skull. And to put it actually like front and center, and to put in a situation in which Hamlet may actually not be, while he's doing that monologue, is it's intriguing. You know, I mean, it's a solid choice. It's like somebody saw that and was like, and really broke down what does that mean, and what would that mean to somebody today? You know, would somebody in modern time go out to a graveyard and pick up a skull? Alas, poor York, you know, or would they, you know, do something crazy? So, I'm gonna stay a little bit fresh on this because I think there's stuff here, and I don't want to just say that the only reason, because that's like 90% of why I would give this movie a rotten score would be because it edited the film, but it's not marketing itself as a complete adaptation. So if I look at it for what it is saying that it's doing, and accomplishes it well, it's sort of like I walked into the film already not liking it because I was already the traditionalist in me was already going to give the film pushback. So if you're like that, then just don't watch the film. But as a film critic, I'm trying to be somewhat fair, acknowledging my bias, being aware of my bias, and then asking myself, is there a film here? And it's really hard to interpret that because I don't want to give it too high of a score because then it would suggest that I really liked the movie, which I did not. But is there value in it? Sure. Is Riz Ahmed doing fantastic work? Sure. Everything that you hear the director and Riz say about the film, are they achieving that successfully? Sure. So for the people who this hits, much like Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, it will work. You know, I mean, that's the best comparison that I can think of. Is that if you were somebody who watched Romeo and Juliet with Baz Luhrmann's version of it, and you were like, "Oh my God, this is amazing! What he's done to Romeo and Juliet has redefined Shakespeare." I don't even want to watch normal Shakespeare anymore. I want to watch stuff like this. Then they've done this. That's what this is. This is somebody doing a radical reinterpretation of Hamlet, chopping it down, editing it down to the basic needs of what it is they need. What do they really want from the project? How do they view the characters? It's a reinterpretation and a reimagining, a restaging. It's everything. It's a diversity forward cast. Um, it's something we've never really fully seen before. So it's hard. It's hard to give a rotten score to a Shakespeare work because at the at the core of it, there's this great, you know, text that we've been quoting for hundreds of years. You know, the audacity to to come in and say it's rotten, it really has to be bad. You know, and I don't know that it meets that threshold, but at the same time, I don't want to give it a resounding like, oh my God, Hamlet has redefined. Riz Ahmed's Hamlet has redefined Shakespeare for me, and is now the penultimate work. Because it's not. It's not even my favorite Hamlet. So, um, so yes, I'm gonna stay fresh on this and see what happens. Audio description, sure, you know, like um honestly, it's so dialogue heavy that you won't really notice it. And if you're familiar with Hamlet at all, but yeah, there's stylistic choices. They do some modern updates and all over the place, you know, in terms of costuming and set and the choice of music and dancing. Just everything that's in this is just a modern. And then, of course, it gets bloody. So, um, and there's a ghost, right? So you want to know what the ghost is doing. Is he creepy? Is he really creepy? Should have gone for a jump scare with the ghost. Um, but I know it seems like a low score, but I've set you up for this. But it is a low, fresh score. I'm going to give Hamlet a 6.4 out of 10. There's enough here. There's a little bit. I'm using 6 as a bar, like as a basement level here, because I can't see myself with a film that is structured from Shakespeare's text, that is telling me exactly what type of film it is, what it's trying to achieve, and I believe it did achieve that. It's just, did I enjoy it? Not really. do I do I respect it for what it is? Sure. So anyway, if this feels like your vibe, it'll hit you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know plenty of people who think that Romeo and Juliet was the bee's knees, and good for you. At least you're watching Shakespeare. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.